Now, as I mentioned, today is a special day. It is Africa Day. It is AU Day. For the uninitiated, a little history on the organization of the African Unity and the African Union. Now, on May 25th, 1963, in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, the 32 African states that had achieved independence at the time agreed to establish the Organization of African Unity. A further 21 members joined gradually, reaching a total of 53 by the time of the AU's creation in 2002. Now, on July 9, 2011, South Sudan became the 54th Africa Union AU member. The OAU's main objectives, as set out in the OAU Charter, were to promote the unity and solidarity of African states, coordinate and intensify their cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the people of Africa, safeguard the sovereignty and territorial integrity of member states, rid the continent of colonization and apartheid, promote international cooperation within the United Nations framework, and harmonize members' political, diplomatic, economic, educational, cultural, health, welfare, scientific, technical, and defense policies. Now, through the 1990s, leaders debated the need to amend the OAU's structures to reflect the challenges of a changing world. In 1999, the OAU heads of state and government issued the CERT Declaration, calling for the establishment of a new Africa Union. The vision for the union was to build on the OAU's work by establishing a body that could accelerate the process of integration in Africa, support the empowerment of African states in the global economy, and address the multifaceted social, economic, and political problems facing the continent. So we say a happy AU Day to you all.
We are a chosen generation.
And what a wonderful continent it is. Happy Africa Day to you all.
All I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We are a chosen generation. Come on to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I am.
3FM Sunrise. Start your day with Sunrise on 92.7 3FM.
Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations, break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well informed throughout the week. Start your day with us.
Knowledge is power. We put you in the know of the happenings in Ghana and the world over. The main reason why you need to start your day with us.
We give the leaders the mandate to govern our affairs. We have a responsibility to hold them to account. It begins here. Start your day with us. Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show with me, Johnnie Hughes, Helen and William Asiedu,
And Noble Crosbyan.
weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio.
You are a major stakeholder in nation building. Your voice matters. Start your day with us.
We simplify the conversations, break down the jargons and technicalities. We keep you well
He has a
informed
very
throughout the
good
week.
product,
Start your day.
where they sell baby attire.
Right.
But on the front of it, she was saying about how, you usually get a lot of white characters or cartoons that are not reflective of our native land, but they have put on their African and African American people who have done some amazing things in the world. So some of the lesser known black female tennis players, they've captured them there. Every time you buy a piece of clothing, it comes with a card that gives you the history of the character and some of their achievements. And I think that's such a great way to honor the greats from our continent, to give them more shine.
Yeah, let's all of Africa unite, and celebrate each other. Silence the guns in Africa. But the Daily Graphic this morning says AU at 60 silence the guns, armed conflict threats to the Continental Free Trade Area, and Professor Vladimir Nchidanso is warning. Also, free SHS suppliers give NAFCO 2-week ultimatum. And ahead of the vetting tomorrow, has company law sculpted Justice Gertrude Kotonu for Ghana? Chief Justice Eni Nieboa retires. Mental cases increasing, data reveals. And deactivation and removal of active unregistered SIMs by the 31st of May 2023. 6 days more to go. Register your SIMs to stay connected. The Daily Guide this morning reads: Veep opens Bank of Ghana Cybersecurity Center. MPP Guru Storm Asin North for another by-election. Will be disciplined with IMF deal, according to Nana Noe licensing Supreme Court, and Berger MP back in court for criminal trial. The BNFT this morning says e-levy rakes in 11% revenue in first quarter of 2023, but there are fears target could be missed. Bank of Ghana takes steps to curb cyber threats. Sea turtle poaching on the rise. British Airways expands Accra-London flights, and review oppressive taxes. Government has been urged. That's what we have here on the front pages, Helen.
All right, I've got the Anchor newspaper. The front page has this to say: Director reports to work heavily drunk. Videos emerge as supervision at non-formal education division breaks down, and there's a very interesting picture to go along with it. It said boozed Stephen Jemfi covering his face, and you can see
he has come to office in flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Was this on Monday? On a Monday?
It
so
appears
hangover blues.
He didn't look in best shape. We'll get into that as we progress. Ward off intruders from forest reserves. Land Minister tells FC. NPP floors NDC again after tabletop results in Kumewu. And re-engineering of Bone landfill site 90% complete.
Okay.
The Daybreak newspaper this morning says re-engineering of Bone landfill site 90% complete. Vice President commissions Bank of Ghana cyber infrastructure. Judicial staff on strike over salaries. I believe that is effective today, or effective today.
You know the interesting thing. 7 years ago, exactly 7 years ago, just around this time, on Facebook reminded me yesterday, JUSAC went on strike.
I see.
Over the same issues. 7 years ago.
We learn from history.
That we do not learn from history.
There
7 years ago, JUSAC went on strike. Same day. 7 years ago, yesterday.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. 7 years ago. And they're on strike again. Same issues.
Let's take a look at what the Business Finder has to say. Bank of Ghana moves against cyber threats as Vice President commissions robust infrastructure. IMF directs Bank of Ghana to scrap supply of cheap dollars to BDCs, and Green Ghana Ministry calls Omanhene's support. Lastly, the Ghanaian Times also talking about the Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana launches cyber threat attacks center for banking sector. GSA identifies 6,000 fake electrical products on sale. SC affirms judgment denying license to cultivate cannabis, but AG seeks review. 49 foreigners arrested for human trafficking cybercrime activities in Accra. 70 laptop computers, 2 cars, 51 mobile phones. Others retrieved. Court issues arrest warrant for 2 alleged fraudsters.
And guess what, Helen? The post I made 7 years ago says, no, this was not made by me. It was made by Israel Edem Komla Gabienu, and he tagged me in it. It says, So the National Labour Commission is going to court to compel JUSAC to return to work. Who will process their documents for the judges?
Questions that need answers.
Yeah,
who will process it?
Who will do that? Well, we'll get into the details now. And E-levy rakes in 11% revenue in first quarter of 2023, but there are fears target could be missed. That's what the BNFT this morning is sharing with us, and the detail, a story by Joshua Walasi Amlanu and Ebenezer Chike Ejay Njoku, says at the 25% mark of the year, data from the Ghana Revenue Authority reveals that the electronic levy, e-levy, generated 246.9 million Ghana cedis in revenue, accounting for 11% of the projected 2.24 billion for the year. Since its implementation 11 months ago in the May 2022, the e-levy has generated a total of 861.47 million Ghana cedis revenue by March 2023. In its first 7 months, the e-levy, set at a rate of 1.5%, contributed 614.57 million Ghana cedis, thereby surpassing the multi-revised target of 611 million revenue for it. Has shown, from what it has shown, consistent, albeit marginal growth since inception of the e-levy, according to the GRA. In May 2022, the levy generated 53.58 million, which rose to 59.23 million for June 2022. The numbers continued to climb, reaching 65.7 million in July 2022, and then 71.29 million in August 2022. 78.95 million in September 2022, 85.73 million in October 2022, and 93.3 million in November 2022. In December, e-levy revenue crossed the milestone of 100 million, reaching 106.79 million. However, the revenue line witnessed a decline at the beginning of 2023 due to a reduction in its rate from 1.5% to 1%. That's what we have now. I heard a professor make a very, very smart suggestion to government that, look, people are reluctant to pay e-levy because of how we went about in its introduction. We were not so forthright with the people. We gave the people all manner of hopes that once we get e-levy routes to be fixed, contractors will be paid, hospitals will be, everything will be, e-levies. And somebody jokingly said, it's Kwesi Pratt said it's jokingly like the e-levy is like Aquabalm,
can cure everything.
Well, so town hall meetings, we couldn't exhaust all the processes, and we had to even go to the town hall meetings because people were had injected some apathy into the whole thing, and they were bad mouthing the policy and everything else. The professor says, look, we have done all the pull and push. The thing to do next is to have a specific project that you're using revenue from e-levy to fund. Once people are able to see that, we had a mind to build a hospital this year out of e-levy, and then so much has been generated thus far, we're able to show that, okay, this is the progress work for the hospital. I don't think that somebody would reject and say that they don't.
I think that's a very good
laudable idea.
A good idea, because I too recall all of the fracas that surrounded the introduction of the e-levy. For most people, they thought that the threshold was a bit too low and that it could be increased. This idea that everybody has 100 CDs to send and it's no big deal. We heard from the likes of Eslo saying that 100 CDs, it's nothing. But for a lot of people, they said it was going to heavily impact them. And even these days, you still feel the pinch every time you send money across, although the threshold has been reduced. But I do think, again, it's a good idea to see exactly where the monies are going. I think it would inure to government's benefit, as it gives the people more confidence. When you know where your money is going, it's easier to buy into it. But I suppose it's good news that it's raking in some revenue at a time where we really need it. But yes, I remember its implementation was a headache.
I honestly think that if our finance people will pay attention and listen to us, I mean, just for a moment, we will be fine. I think that in most of the cases we are not listened to, and I'm not saying us because we are not financial gurus, but again, the people who play within that space, the Professor Lord Mensahs, the Joe Jacksons, the Ken Thompsons, the Professor Kobe Mensahs, the Professor Bokpins, the Professor Peter Quartes, the Professor Gachis, people, smart sapons, those who play within that field. I don't think that we have paid attention to most of the things they have said, because if I cast my mind back to most of the things that were said in 2019, 2020 by these persons, and the projections they made and the predictions, all of them have come to pass, and even more. And even more that they said, look, if we go to the IMF, this will happen. If we don't go to the IMF, early enough, these are the things that will happen. Now we have an opportunity to get people to contribute, but we went about it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
For those of us who have ventured into marketing, fast-moving consumer goods always make quick money, because the people are buying it at 1 CD, 2 CDs, 3 CDs, 5 CDs. Yeah. They actually don't see the weight, but you're able to sell more, you make more money. Because if off every 1 CD you make it 20 pesos, and you have sold about 10,000 pieces of that, do the calculation. As opposed to if you're pricing it at maybe 40 CDs per one, and you have just sold about 50 or 60 pieces, how much would you have gotten? You're taking it's maybe a CD or so from the top. So the dynamics are totally different. If we had beaten out the price, because the initial proposal from ISE to the finance minister was for a 0.5. Right? Yeah. 0.5. The minister said they wanted 1.5. At some point,
in fact,
the minority
I think
said
they started at 1.75.
1.75.
And got beaten down to 1.5. Yes.
And then even some MPs in parliament from the side of the majority, I understand, had a meeting and they suggested that, look, tone it down. Because that was the time that the minority had said that, look, if you bring it down to 1%, we'll be happy to support you to at least push this through, because already the people are suffering. No, we won't do that. So that 0.5, which ISE had suggested, that would have, because they called it a regressive tax, a tax that will draw us back instead of pushing us forward. Now it's obvious that we got the implementation of yet another sweet policy very, very wrong, because we had ego trips all over the place. And the homaswocracy, the bureaucracy, the numjacracy that we know it all is what has brought us onto our knees. Now we are the IMF. And whatever monies will be given to us, we will have to still pay for it, because it's not free money.
That's right.
China is going to take over revenue from electricity, gold, oil, because we have defaulted, or if we default in 4 or so loans. So did we go or did we come, as somebody would ask?
And even cancelling of road tolls, could we have just kept that in place as it should have been, and then use that also as some type of buffer? I've heard some members of government say, well, it wasn't raking in that much anyway, but even whatever, to the tune of some 70 or 80 million Ghana cedis, that's no small change. It can be used for something. How we turned a blind eye to the road tolls being cancelled is beyond me, but we're here now, and every penny is needed.
I honestly, when those arguments are advanced that it wasn't raking in that much, I mean, wasn't it from the road toll that we're doing all manner of things? We were raking in revenue, no matter how small. We're even thinking of the fact that this same road minister who hurriedly cancelled the road toll even before Parliament approved the budget of 2022 and 2021, he had said at his vetting table when he was nominated to be our roads minister from 2021 to 2024 that he was going to increase the amount that was charged at the tolling points, because in Africa we charge the lowest. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's also debatable. not because what he said is not true, but also because in those African countries where the roads are tolled, you have the roads being good. The quality of the road will be commensurate with how much is charged there. But this whole concept of people were fighting at the tolling points, and so we had to stop it, I think it's all, white lies. They're all white lies. And we failed to support our budget efficiently in 2021 because in 2021 we had all agreed through our representatives in Parliament that road tolls was going to be a revenue line.
That's right.
Cabinet brought that to us, and our representatives in Parliament approved that. So, what's up?
How do you do that without Parliament's approval to reverse?
And you cannot say that you are broke and decide that, as for this money is too small. It is actually when you are broke that all sources of funding should make sense to you. It's not just about borrowing, because road tolls, if we had continued taking road tolls, we wouldn't have been borrowing. The whole year of 2022, we would have gotten 70 million cedis, or maybe more if we had moved to amend whatever the laws are to be able to increase how much we collected there. We would have made more money. Let's say 120 million, 150 million, or maybe a double of the 70. Are we saying that 150 million cedis is nothing? It could pay school feeding caterers. That's right. So that they won't be on strike. It could pay the school feeding suppliers so that they won't threaten fire and brimstone. It could do something. It could have done something.
This is right.
So you can't say that it's small money was not bringing it. What kind of cock and bull story is that? What kind of justification is that? Come on. Anyway.